This video will show you how to process images using the processing function that's located under Calibration, Image Series, Calibration, and Stacking. This is a very powerful function because what it allows us to do is to basically take a set of files, calibrate them, do some cosmetic corrections on them, selection in terms of the quality of the images, register them, and then finally stack them. So let's begin by first going and selecting some images. And here we have a list of images, and we're going to select just say the first 12 images like so, and we'll select those. For calibration, we previously have created some masters and put them into a master file, and then selected the bias, the master dark, and the master flat image. Cosmetically, we don't really have to worry about too much here. This was taken with hydrogen alpha filter, but we'll get rid of any extraordinary hot pixels that might be there. Under image sorting, we're going to select a full width half max of 3.2 pixels and an elongation of up to 20%. We're just going to use the central area to do this calculation on, which will speed up the process, but you can use the full area if you wish. Then for registration, we have some options, and we're just going to use the simplest form of registration, which is using star positions. And under stacking, we can select regular sum, median stack, or the sigma kappa stacking method. But for now, we'll just use the simple median stack for this demonstration. We then say OK. And what happens next is Prism goes through all those images we selected and calculates the full width half max, and as well as the elongation that's within the image. And so that way it can reject any images that don't meet our criteria. Next, we can see what's happening here is we're reading in each image. It's calculating the optimum dark frame, and this is the calculation of that dark frame factor to be used, and applying the flat, and it's also computing what kind of a shift has taken place. All these images were unguided, and so there was some drift between images, which in effect provided some dithering, and you can see that taking place here. And with a couple of more images to go, it's now completed the registration process. Now it'll go and do the median stack. It's done that, and so in 1.1 minutes, we can now take a look at the resulting image. Let's get rid of this extra data that we don't need anymore and concentrate on the image itself. And we can zoom in a little bit more. We're using this on a very small monitor for the purposes of capturing the video. Normally I use a much higher resolution monitor, as I suspect most people do. So we get an appreciation of the image. We can see the stars are quite round. If we want to examine a star and just see what it looks like in terms of the quality, we simply go to the star, we press the control key, and then click on the left mouse, and we can see that we have a elongation there of about 4%. The actual image of the star is about 3 arc seconds in size, so it was pretty mediocre seeing that night, but it gives us an overall flavor for what the image looks like. We also get some additional information that we can use in terms of signal to noise and so forth. So when we do that, we get a little residual mark on the image, and if you're like me, you don't like anything on your image, so we go up to image display and just refresh the image, and any marks that might be put there disappear. As a next step, what we might want to do is we might want to do a quick DDP on this image, and we can select a fairly low sharpness factor and a fairly modest amount of DDP. We'll click on that, and that's now complete. And then we can go up here, which will give us access to the histogram and allow us to change the cutoffs or thresholds, if you will, in terms of the display. One of the things I like to do is to immediately take a look at the whole histogram by zooming out, and then we can modify that to get a better feel. Zoom out a little bit more. And we can see that we've got it about where we want it there. And that starts to give us a nice level of detail. One of the nice things about Prism is that it allows you to move around the image with the cursor. So you can then go ahead and examine your full image and structure and detail quite easily. And so we get a feel for the amount of noise that's been introduced by the DDP, and it's fairly modest. Of course, more exposures are always better, but this will give you a feel for what it can be done. So that's what we can do in terms of using Prism to automatically calibrate the images, select them, stack them after registration, and then produce a combined image.